Got these special glasses from the solar eclipse. But they're kind of like, the 3D glasses at the movie theater. Like, all right, once the movie's done, what do you do with it? These are useless. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the bullpen suffers a major blow, losing Jonathan Loáisiga to Tommy John surgery. He'll be done for 2024. So we'll kind of get into the whole thing. The injury kind of had a little bit of a step there, where at first we just thought maybe he's just going to be gone for a couple of months, but turns out, yes, he's going to need the Tommy John surgery. So kind of give you the backstory of the whole thing and the injury itself. Again, we've become like physicians here at Section 420 Talkin Yankees. We diagnosed the whole Cole injury, so now we'll get into the whole Loáisiga injury and maybe what other options the Yankees have. And of course, the merry-go-round Brian Cashman has had with the Yankee, mainly the pitching staff. There will be a new Yankee who called up from AAA. They kind of purchased his contract. Now he's a major league contract, so give you his whole background on why they called him up. Again, but it's always a merry-go-round with the Yankee bullpen. And then some other Yankees kind of work their way back, such as Garrett Cole, DJ LeMahieu. Just kind of give you some updates where those walked wounded are in their progress of rejoining the team, hopefully finally. And of course, we'll look at the Yankee lineup, a couple of series in, how they look, who's hot, who's not. Do we like the way this Yankee lineup is constructed there? So get into all the stuff. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the audio podcast version of the show. So as much as you like to see me, there's an audio podcast version of the show with updated much more frequently than you would see here. Get cool stuff like, for example, opening game there down in Houston. I kind of did a wrap-up after that just because it's kind of special. And then when the Yankees returned to the Bronx for the Yankee Stadium home opener, did a wrap-up after that. And again, not only had a baseball game, had a bit of an earthquake. And again, you can't get that anywhere else. You won't get it here, so you want to make sure you get to the audio podcast, subscribe there so you get that content right away. And of course, you're watching on YouTube. Should have done it already. Make sure you subscribe. And if you're watching on TV, you got a lot more work to do. Hate to add your task load there, but make sure to go to YouTube, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, subscribe, and go to the audio podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcast, iHeart Radio, Spotify, whatever, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, subscribe as well, get everything. So 2 episodes when we visited Yankee Stadium to kind of crack the champagne on the 2024 season, kind of showcase, Jonathan Loáisiga, and kind of mention how he was going to be so important this season, just because basically he's replacing Michael King, what King brings to the table. Again, the two of them very similar the way they came up. They were both, the Yankees tried to get him as starters. Obviously didn't really work out with them. Also, both of them kind of battled injuries, and they both, eventually kind of grooved their way into bullpen roles, and were kind of crucial for Yankees getting outs late in the game. Michael King, of course, in the Yankees later on last season, tried to stretch him out into be a starter again, and of course, obviously he got dealt in the Soto deal, so he was kind of the cards there. But obviously Loáisiga, they were kind of looking at him to replace what King was doing before they tried to transition King to a starter, kind of be a multi-inning pitcher, be able to go multi-innings a couple days in a row, because again, the way he came up through the minors and initially as he joined the Yankees, the both of them were stretched out as starters, so they have a little bit more endurance than your typical reliever there, and that's kind of what made King a valuable weapon, and I was going to make Jonathan Loáisiga a valuable weapon for the Yankees. And at the fact that King is gone, you were kind of depending on Loáisiga to be that guy, and then the Yankees actually announced he was going to be that guy. They were going to plan to use him for multiple innings, sometimes even multiple days in a row doing that, and it worked out perfectly. You remember the opening day down there in Houston, Loáisiga came out of the pen, gave the Yankees 2 scoreless innings. Even if he struggled a little bit in that second inning, they was able to power his way through, got a couple of strikeouts there to get a potential jam, and the Yankees will eventually go on to win that game. So just to have someone like that could throw multiple innings, high velocity and so forth, very valuable for the Yankees. Now they lose that weapon there, so that's a big void there. I mean, I'll say it's a killer blow, but again, that you were depending on a lot. Now you're going to ask people sort of like Ian Hamilton, for example, or Dennis Santana, who they called up shortly after that, to get some key outs late in the game there. And then can they do that? Can they do it consistently? You have to, just kind of wait and see how that all works out. Again, I don't think it's a dire situation there, but, that was a big blow because you were relying on him to be one of your main guys. And, Loáisiga, to his credit, remember when the Yankees, their last postseason run during the 2022 season there, against Cleveland as well as against Houston, but mainly against Cleveland. Loáisiga was kind of his first time doing it, and he was fine. He was perfect. Got some big outs and big situations there. So, he didn't buckle under pressure, so the postseason didn't bother him. So it's good to know that you had a guy like that could handle that, depending if this 2024 team does go to the postseason. So you like the idea you had them, and now you're going to lose that. So the Yankees are going to have to find an answer, whether it's in-house. Of course, we have the rest of the season there. Maybe Cashman makes a deal, or we'll just see how the starting rotation shapes out. Again, eventually, hopefully, Cole does come back, and when that does happen, you have a chance either Luis Heel or Clark Schmidt may be removed from the starting rotation, and then maybe one of them could be an option possibly, or even if that's the case, maybe you put Heel back in AAA because you'd rather see him get stretched out as a starter and not just coming out of the bullpen there. But we see with his strikeout capability, just as lethal as Loáisiga could be. But again, that's kind of later to be determined for the Yankees. For now, it's just kind of short term. Looks like someone like Dennis Santana. He was kind of one of the I would call the bargain basement, the Dollar Tree moves that Cashman been making this whole offseason, bringing a lot of pitching arms in here, whether it's on minor league deals, invites, getting guys off the waiver wires, as kind of replenishing the Yankee arms, which again the Yankees have sent out a lot of arms in these the offseason. And you look at the Soto deal, you look at the deal to get Verdugo. Again, the Yankees have lost a lot of arms, but they also brought in a lot of arms, and Cashman's going to have to do a lot of that managing for us to wait and see if they can come to a solution to obviously replace what Loáisiga brought to the table. Now, this initially happened on the road trip when they were coming back from Arizona. He complained of some discomfort, so they did have an MRI on the elbow there, and this initially was diagnosed with a right flexor strain. Now they did put him on the 60-day IL at the time, so you knew this was kind of serious, and it was like kind of annoying there because you were depending on him, but you figure, all right, he would be able to come back at some point in the season. And I guess they looked at it further. Some other doctors look at it, and then they determined there was a tear in that UCL. That's the bullet that Garrett Cole dodged. He didn't have a tear, so that's why he didn't need the TJ surgery. But of course, Loáisiga does. So indefinitely, he's going to need the surgery, and that puts him out for 12 to 14 months, which means goodbye to the 2024 season and probably a chunk of next season. Now he's on an arbitration deal right now. He's going to be a free agent, so even quite possibly you might even see the last of him in the Yankee uniform, which is kind of unfortunate, just because all the potential he had. I mean, here's a guy who throws triple digits, throws one of the heaviest fastballs as well as one of the heaviest sliders in the game. But of course, if he's always hurt, you can't use that weapon. And past few seasons, he has been hurt, getting a lot of forearm problems, shoulder problems, and now you have this problem where he tears the UCL. And is this a situation where he's overthrowing the ball? I mean, you look at the Mets. Met fans complained that with DeGrom for many years that his stuff is great and he has a microscopic ERA, but he's hurt all the time. Is he overthrowing the ball? And kind of the Yankee fans with Luis Severino, we always think the same way with him even last season. I mean, is he overthrowing the ball? Is that why is he getting hurt so much? And now is this the case the same as Loáisiga? Was he kind of overthrowing the ball and that's why he got hurt? Possibly there. So maybe it's something that not only the Yankees but other organizations have to look back at these pitches of why are we seeing so many Tommy Johns? Why are we seeing so many UCL tears? Even Michael King 2 seasons ago with the Yankees, he had to go down. Now he didn't need the Tommy John surgery, but he also needed surgery that ended his season. And again, was he overthrowing the ball? And you just look at some of these wicked sliders that are 92 miles per hour. I mean, back in the day, if you remember, the 80s and 90s, your typical pitcher threw like 91, 92 was the fastball, and maybe the slider was like 84, 82, but now you see pitchers popping off sliders over 90 miles per hour there, so they're probably throwing something that's unnatural to their body, and again, that's probably what's causing all these injuries. So that's the situation there. So just a little different than from Garrett Cole, who again didn't have a tear in the UCL, so it was a little bit nerve damage, a little fluid buildup in there for him. And I'll kind of give a little update a little later with him. So luckily, the Yankees dodged a bullet with him, but unfortunately with Jonathan Loáisiga, it hit him right between the eyes, or like you would say, right in the elbow. And speaking of Miss Cole, if you wanted to see a real earthquake, obviously, if he had to get Tommy John surgery, then you would have seen a real earthquake in New York. But luckily, he dodged that bullet. But finally, he got on the field. So had his first throwing session. It was, nothing crazy. It was just 25 throws. It was on flat ground for 60 feet there. That was kind of his first workout as he kind of mends his way back to finally, hope to get ready sometime in June. Again, with his diagnosis, they wanted to shut him down for a couple of weeks, but Cole claimed that once he gets the green light to start his activities, he really wants to hit the ground running and get back as soon as possible there. So again, the first initial test, so far so good. He claimed he felt great afterwards, so that's all good there. I guess didn't have any pain or anything in that elbow. So if that's the case, it's good for the news for the Yankees. And if you just look at the Yankees starting rotation so far, it's mostly been positives there. I know Nestor early on, he had the bad start there, at least the first inning of the Houston game. Now, you look at his line, say he didn't have a good game, but the rest of the way after that, after the 4-0 hole there, he did pitch well, hold down the fort, gave the offense an opportunity to claw their way back in, and they would eventually win that game. Now, the second game against Arizona, he just got blasted, didn't have it, but finally, he put a good start, and that was his home debut, I guess, of the year at Yankee Stadium against the lowly Marlins. I know it's the Miami Marlins, they're terrible. Again, they're probably the only team that's worse than the Mets there, so you don't really high-five yourself for, beating the Marlins. But, hey, look, you have a good performance against the major league team, and he's been needing that, and he threw 8 shutout innings there. So, it was a 2-hitter there, 6 strikeouts. So great performance just to see him to do that. So again, I wasn't really worried about Nestor, but you at least wanted him to get a good one, and he had a great performance against the Marlins. So I think he'll be fine. Rendon's been fine. Clark Schmidt's been okay so far. Again, they haven't stretched these guys too out. And Luis Heel, you look at his first 2 initial starts. The first game against Arizona was great. Now the second game a little bit at home. That was one of the Toronto games there. He struggled a little bit, threw a lot of pitches there, but it wasn't a big bases loaded jam, and got a cold strike 3. Put the ball right down the middle on Biggio there with the bases loaded in a big spot there. And that was a situation that kept the Yankees in the game. They were down 1-0. You eventually come back and win that game there. So the Yankee rotation overall has been good even without Cole there. So I don't think he's in any major rush. I'm sure Cole wants to get that back as soon as possible. But again, if this is the Rendon we're going to get, if this is going to be the Nestor we're going to get, and if it's Luis Heel and Clark Schmidt, just to do their pieces at the bottom end of that bullpen, that's really good. You just got to stretch them out a little bit at the bottom of the rotation, but you just got to stretch them out a little bit because, as I mentioned before, with someone like Loáisiga down, you're relying on some other people to kind of do things late in the games that I used to. So you don't want to go to that bullpen too early. So once you get through this initial April phase there, even if the weather's a little bad like that, and you get into May, that's when you start stretching these pitches out a little bit, and you hope by that time, you could get some Clark Schmidt, give you 6 innings, Luis Heel, give you 6 innings. You get that from Rendon and Nestor, no problem, but you want some of those other guys to also just give you 6 innings just so you don't have to go in the bullpen too much, because again, early on the Yankees, it's going to be a little rocky there until they kind of find a formula to make up, again, for the loss of Loáisiga. So as always, Brian Cashman tinkering with the bullpen, always bringing guys up, down, who has options, who doesn't have the options. Well, the latest victim to join the Yankee team, at least on the major league level, is Josh Majewski. Now, they purchased his contract from AAA, brought him up here to the majors, and in order to make room to do so, kind of a short-lived goodbye, maybe we'll see him again, was Jake Cousins. And again, he's the pitcher prospect they got from the Chicago White Sox a couple weeks ago for cash considerations. Now, he was instrumental in the final game at home against Toronto there. Against Luis Heel wasn't able to go across the 5th, but Jake was able to get him across and then hand the game over to the bullpen, and he eventually go on to win that game there. And I guess, since he had some options, they sent him down to make room for Josh there. Now, Josh, he's different from Jake. Jake was a right-hander. Josh was a left-hander here, so it could be just because maybe the Yankees, who they look up, who they got, coming up lately on the schedule, maybe they want more left-handers in the bullpen. Maybe a little grouchy about Caleb Ferguson giving up a home run in the home opening there against a hitter. I don't really think so, but you never know. Maybe just wanted to stock up some more lefties, but nevertheless, but really seemed to caught their eye is the way he started this season in AAA. First, I'll give his numbers last season. Now this is a combination of high A ball, AA, and AAA. He posted a 6-3 record, had 30 appearances, and pitched to a really good ERA of 2.96. Now, it was last season, but probably what caught the attention this season, as he started off this season in AAA, was he had a 4 2/3 scoreless innings across 2 outings there. So I guess he started hot this AAA, and I guess they just wanted to get him up here to join the bullpen. Again, we're looking for some other pieces as well. As mentioned, again, a lot of Yankees on the mend, one of them also being Tommy Kahnle. Now, he's had some throwing sessions. He had some setbacks. It's really kind of odd to really, pinpoint what's going on with him, and that shut him down last season early. Didn't need any surgeries or anything like that, and kind of had a bit of a late start to this spring. But he's not really as back as soon as we would like him to. So again, this is why the Yankees are relying on folks like this. Just bring up guys from the minors really haven't been tested before until the likes of Tommy Kahnle, or maybe later on in the season when Scott Efros is able to rejoin the team. Hopefully, he can mend himself after his back surgery. As for the walking wounded on the field who we're expecting back, got a little positive news from DJ LeMahieu. Not great news, but positive. Again, he's dealing with that fracture on his right foot that they found through the imaging. Again, it's not devastating enough where he needs surgery. He needs to be shut down for a long period of time. At least as of April 6th, he said he feels good to start baseball activities, but they don't want to push him too much. Boone doesn't want to push him too much, which is kind of understandable. And they're really in no rush. Oswaldo Cabrera having a really good season so far to start off, and even John Birdie. I know he may not be Babe Ruth, but at least defensively he's been fine there. So you really in no big rush to get DJ LeMahieu back. And again, DJ LeMahieu has been struggling the past couple of seasons anyway, so you're not really getting back the the 320 hitter from 2019 there. So again, that's why you don't see any big rush to get him back. But nevertheless, did get some good news. Now they want to at least try, at least by April 12th, get another image on the foot there just to see the prognosis on it, and if it's kind of gets the thumbs up from the doctors to start baseball activities, he's going to at least have a minor league stint there for a while just to kind of get back into baseball shape. Don't know how long that's going to be, and then eventually he'll be able to rejoin the team at some time. Now, the only thing that Boone is mentioning that he's worried about is not really his hitting as much, but it's kind of his side-to-side motion, especially if you're playing defense. They have to go shuffle, especially on if he's going to be playing third base or once in a while playing second base to spell Gleyber there. So they want to make sure he has the movement movement, no discomfort, anything like that. So again, it seems to be a little bit more of a fielding thing than a hitting thing. But again, the hitting thing could be a problem as well, because if you're planting that foot there, you can swing there, that's also going to rely on it. So we'll see how it goes there. But again, it really should be no major rush to come back. And you like what you see as Oswaldo Cabrera so far at third base. Pretty much solid there. And of course, hitting, hitting big spots, getting RBIs, doing some of the things that DJ LeMahieu hasn't been doing the past couple of seasons. So again, even if you're watching, you're a Yankee fan, you're not really exactly in a rush to DJ to come back, because again, you want the good DJ, but we're not sure if he's the good DJ anymore. So again, for DJ, take your time. And if DJ's one Yankee who kind of been struggling the past couple of seasons, not looking like himself, the other one would be Giancarlo Stanton. Different one, Stanton is almost like a former MVP player, has a lot of money and years left on his deal there with the Yankees there. So it's a situation where you almost the Yankees have to force themselves to get him right there. And it was kind of looking scary early on. Now he finally did show a good sign of life, and that was with the Toronto series there. But before that, there was getting a little nerve-wracking a little bit. I mean, did not have really a great spring training. I know he had that one game where he popped off for the 3 home runs. Okay, that's great, but that's just one game. Other than that, and the start of the season was not good for Stan at all, but finally has come to life a little bit. Not going to say, all right, it's all worried now, we're good, Stan clear, good moving forward, but at least to see him, hit some good home runs, and especially a grand slam in a very big spot. It all got started in the second Toronto game there. This game where he ended up with 3 hits. Now, he did hit his first home run of the season there. Now, the home run itself, it was kind of an impressive opposite field hit. Normally probably a double in most ballparks, but it was kind of one of those Yankee Stadium right field. They called it the Johnny Damon home runs from 2009, where you just be able to sneak that ball over the right field wall. That's what kind of Stanton did with some opposite field power, but at least got him off the home run schneid there. And then again, you would have a couple more other hits in that game there. And of course, the big blow was the Sunday game right after that, a bases loaded situation. Again, the Yankees, the game was tied 1-1, and he took a 93 miles per hour fastball, low and inside there. I thought that was the right pitch for the pitcher to do, try to blow it by him, let Stanton prove he can still get around on that pitch. Well, he got around on a big way, and a major blast to left field. Almost went to the third deck there, but kind of hit off the second deck facade there again. So major shot there again, off a really good fastball, low and inside there. So a good piece of hitting by him, and this is a good sign there, because it was starting to get a little ugly. I mean, you might have saw that article by Joel Sherman in the New York Post, kind of showcasing him, but you also had Baez with Detroit, as well as Anthony Rendon with the Angels, where you have 3 players like that with big contracts, or at least parts of a remaining contract, a lot of money left to go, but they're not really producing, not putting the numbers that you need them for, and it's kind of a weird situation, because I said what the Yankees did in 2016 with A-Rod, even though they had a ton of money they owed him, but it was the last year left on his deal, and he got to a point where he said, all right, you know what, just sit the rest of the year out, we'll just pay you to stay home like that. You really can't do it to a player who still has 3 years left, and then they're only 34, 35 years old, so shouldn't be the case there. But it was getting a little ugly with Stanton. We're not sure how this might go the rest of the way. I mean, he has been trying the offseason. He lost a little weight. He kind of worked on his swing a little bit. Kind of just as you get a little bit older, you have to kind of start things a little sooner there to get around the baseball. You see his stance is a little bit different now than compared to years, but again, the results weren't there. But finally did pop off in that Toronto series, so we'll see where it goes from there. But again, if you get him going, that's really good, because he's almost an afterthought. You don't think about him. You think about Soto, of course. You think about Judge. You think about this, Volpe now up and coming. Peraza I mentioned before. You kind of focus on those guys. But if someone like Stanton, you have him just batting as even like a 6 hit or something like that, I mean, that's a powerful weapon to have. So if he could get it going there, that would be great news for the Yankees there. So I'm not going to say all right, it's all skies clear for Stanton. It was just one good series there. We'll see where the rest of it go, but at least good to show that little blip sign of life, because I don't know what the Yankees are going to do with him, because again, he has so many years left on his deal there. So you can't just sit him on the bench. You can't just cut him like that. You really can't trade him. Nobody's going to take him unless you literally eat all his money, which the Yankees aren't going to do there. So it's a really tough situation. So they just have to, whether it's Stanton himself, the Yankees, all parties got together and just find to get him right and get him consistently hitting there. The only thing to say about Stanton, look at some of the other Yankees like Judge, Rizzo. They themselves didn't exactly have to get hot starts this season as well. But Judge, his resume, you're not worried about him. Again, hit his first home run finally in Arizona, then got one at home as well in Yankee Stadium. So him you don't worry about. Rizzo as well you don't really worry about. Again, he was good last season up until he had the concussion issue there. But he finally hit his first home run of the year. It's kind of a laser shot there. You don't really worry about those two as much. It's really Stanton you want to see. Make sure he starts hitting more consistently. And of course he's got to be hitting more better than 200 like he did last season. You just can't have that in a major league uniform. And he's almost going to have to perform, because later in the season, at some point the Yankees are going to get Jason Dominguez Dominguez back, and that's a guy we just saw him for very briefly before he needed Tommy John surgery, which is kind of weird for a position player, but nevertheless. But he's obviously going to force Boone to make some tough decisions there, because if Jason Dominguez comes up here and plays the way he played in the, he hit 4 home runs in like 8 games. If he's going to provide that type of production, well, then Stanton's going to be, in a tight spot that if he doesn't produce, then he's going to probably see the bench. So, maybe that's something that, put lights a fire on the Stanton. Maybe, does he needs that sort of motivation, because maybe he hasn't had that. He just figured, hey, I'm Gio Stanton. I'll just show up here. I got a contract. I'll just play. I don't think he has a bad attitude, but sometimes you can light a fire into somebody by having someone like Jason Dominguez waiting in the wings there to take his place. Maybe that inspires him to be a better player. Hopefully that's the case. I like what Aaron Boone's done to this lineup, mainly that he's kept it consistent. Again, one of the critiques I've had of the Yankees, and I'm sure a lot of Yankee fans have been frustrated about this, is that it seemed like the past few seasons it was kind of almost like, put the names in a hat and throw it in the end. That was your starting lineup. I mean, you would always know, at least in the batting order terms, Judge would be either like number 1 or number 2. I hate it. I didn't like when they batted Judge leadoff. I know he got reason to get. Part of it is he got to 62 home runs, but a guy like that should not be leading off. But the past couple of seasons, the Yankees really have been struggling to put a consistent, cohesive lineup together there day in, day out. Well, so far in 2024, at least the top part of the lineup is almost the same every day, and I kind of like that. Just kind of like lets every player know where they are. Again, baseball is very routine-like, and so if you're winning, you know where you're hitting, the whole deal there. I just think that leads to success, which what we've been seeing with this Yankee team, especially last year, remember, I mean, it was like every day was a different leadoff hitter. It would be Volpe one day, Gleyber one day, DJ one day. Now maybe when LeMahieu comes back as mentioned, maybe they give him a little bit leadoff hitting there. I don't know. But at least so far, the way they've attacked the season, I like what they've done. Even with Gleyber Torres as your leadoff hitter, which that's been the way it is. Again, he's not your ideal type of leadoff hitter. He's not exactly like a Ricky Henderson or Chuck Knobloch type or a Tim Raines type. But again, he can at least get on base, and he's a little bit sneaky fast. He can sneak and steal a base here and there once in a while. I'm okay with that. But I like what they do the rest of the way. Soto, number 2 there. Not only, of course, he's a home run threat, of course, with a power, but he sprays the ball over the place. So that, and plus it's the way he works counts, he grinds out at bats, he gets a lot of walks, he's going to get on base one way or another, and then it sets the tables for someone behind like Judge, who of course we know can hit a 2-run home run, or at least hit a double off the wall and score Soto there. So I just like the way that lineup is, and of course you have that Rizzo, and then of course Stanton. So it's kind of like, the top 5, top 6 is always the same every game, and I just like the way the Yankees do that versus, a year or 2 ago, it was always a different leadoff hitter, a different person like that, and I think that just affects the team. You don't really know where you're going to hit, and you just, you kind of, you're going to see different pitches. Maybe yesterday you were a number 6 hitter, so you're going to see different pitches when you're a number 6 hitter versus if you're a number 1 or number 2 hitter there. So if you're always in the leadoff spot, you're always seeing the same type of pitches, stuff like that. I just think it helps with success. Now, the Yankees do have some other options later on. Of course, Anthony Volpe having a great start to the season. Now, he's probably maybe more of a you would think more of a leadoff hitter type than even Gleyber Torres. Again, Volpe has more speed than Torres and can steal more bases than Torres. But right now, I don't think Boone wants to mess with him. He's in a good place right now. He's kind of in that lower part of the, I'd say the beginning of the lower part of the lineup there, kind of that second wave there. He's been hitting great. He hit great all spring. Getting leveled out the swing, seems to be working. And again, had a very good start to the season here. He had the little runs that'll get bit, I guess, from the Montezuma's revenge there from the games in Mexico City. Other than that, it's been smooth sailing for Volpe. I don't think Boone wants to mess with that. Leave him there in the 6th hole, and if he's hitting there, great, he's there. But of course, if he's kind of later on as an option, if he feels Boone's, he can mentally handle it, maybe Boone then could slide him as a leadoff hitter, and then maybe move Gleyber back down to 6th spot there. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. I just think he wants to keep Volpe, keep on keeping on. If he's successful there, don't mess with anything. But maybe later in the season, possibly you can see him transition over there, because again, the Yankees don't really have a technically leadoff hitter there. But I'm okay with the way they're doing it right now. Again, I like this Yankee lineup. Again, they're producing, scoring runs, not just relying on home runs, putting a lot of pressure on the other pitchers there. So it's much more exciting to watch versus what we've been seeing the past couple of seasons, where it's like, there's no action at all until maybe somebody hits a home run once in a while. But not the case with this Yankee team. See him on the bases, see him running, see him stealing, putting rallies together. It's exciting to watch there. So far, so good for the Yankee offense. It's a little bit old news at this point, though, but it was interesting, coming from the offseason to season, how the Yankee Stadium crowd and how, mainly 2 players will, make their debuts at Yankee Stadium. That would be, of course, Juan Soto as well as Marcus Stroman. Now, Soto, you don't think there'll be any problem with him. He seemed like even as soon as he put the Yankee pinstripes on, it seemed like he fit like a glove here. And so you don't think there'll be any issue with that. But of course, we went with Marcus Stroman because he was excited to be here, excited to be a Yankee. Of course, he's a native New Yorker. He was a Met for, a couple of years ago. So, this is not so foreign territory for him. But you want to see, will he be overjacked up? Can he handle it? How he would perform. And so if you wanted to, do a litmus test of that first start at Yankee Stadium there, doesn't seem like he'll have any problem here at all. Pitched a great game now. It wasn't a losing effort, but it wasn't his fault. He gave the Yankees a great start. It was 6 shutout innings there. It was the Yankee bullpen that ended up blowing the game. Later on, they lost the game 3-0, but had to do with Stroman. Stroman pitched great, and Stroman did what Stroman does when he's on. He gets ground ball after ground ball after ground ball. So that was a good sign. Again, some strikeouts here or there. Got out of one little kind of major jam there, but other than that, Stroman threw a great game. Didn't seem phased at all. Pitching, taking the ball for the Yankees, a home opener for 2024 there. So all good stuff to see from him. So if he could just keep on that tread there with some other Yankee starters I mentioned before, then again, the Yankees starting rotation will be in good shape. And again, you're not in a rush to get Cole back, but of course, you like to get Cole back because he's Garrett Cole. And of course, the other one was Juan Soto there, and I'm sure you saw the funky sneakers. I don't know if you could do that in baseball, but of course, kind of a New York design. You got a taxi cab, you got Statue of Liberty, which supposedly lights up. You kind of had the Yankee Stadium, subway sign there with the B, D, and the 4 there. So some flashy sneakers. Of course, they gave him the roll call with the bleacher creatures. They both sides hit it off great, and of course, with him playing right field, he's going to be right there. Again, that used to be kind of Judge's territory a little bit. Aaron's now kind of lost out in center a little bit, so he's taking a little Judge's spotlight there a little bit, but I'm sure Judge doesn't mind there. But again, Soto just kind of seems like he fits in like a glove. First game wasn't great there, had a couple of strikeouts, but nevertheless, eventually did get his first Yankee Stadium home run. Again, that was that first game against the Marlins there, so kind of got that hump off there. But he's been great for the Yankees overall. Again, only 2 home runs, but again, he's been doing exactly what the Yankees need him to do. Been grinding out at bats, getting walks, getting on base, spraying the ball around, getting hits with men on base. RBIs versus just relying on home run like there. So he's part of the excitement of this kind of revamped Yankee offense there, and maybe make himself a little bit of a sales pitch there. He kind of seems like, hey, I like to play here. I would like to be great here. Wouldn't you like to have me for the next 10 years? So again, the Yankees have to make a choice on him when the season's over. He's only 25 years old, so even if he commands a 10-year deal or a 12-year deal, you still have him until he's 37. It's not terrible, really. I know, as I just mentioned before with Stanton, when you sign someone for a long-term deal, then you have to worry about, the years after they turn 30, getting near 35. You kind of always regret that. But at least Soto, very much wants to play here. Now, he kind of put it out there. He's not really getting involved in anything. He mentions that, hey, look, if they want to talk to my people, they could give him a call. He seems like he would like to play here. I just don't think the Yankees are going to give him a long-term deal. But nevertheless, this looks like this is going to be a fun season. Nevertheless, whether he's not here next year or not, but we should at least enjoy 2024. So Soto looks good in the Yankee uniform, and of course Marcus Stroman off to a good start as well, so hopefully he could keep it up. So that's the episode. Thanks for hanging in there for the whole thing, the whole 9 innings, as they say. Again, bad blow for the Yankees, losing Loáisiga to Tommy John surgery there, so the Yankees are going to have to find a solution there because that's somebody you needed for the 7th, 8th inning. But other than that, some other good news from the Yankees. Finally got a good start from Nestor Cortez. You kind of wait to see that. Got a good, at least, series against Toronto. Now it's Giancarlo Stanton there with the bat coming to life a little bit. So hopefully, he could carry that the rest of the way. He could start, kind of be in the back the Giancarlo Stanton that we first got when he came to the Yankees back, in 2018 there. And if he could resemble that, again, he doesn't have to be Babe Ruth there, but he got to hit better than 198. And of course, Garrett Cole getting good news, at least starting his throwing program again as he works his way back. You're still not maybe looking around June till you get him back, but nevertheless, at least the first test there started with the green light, and of course DJ as well. I guess once they look at the image of the foot there, if they feel he's ready to go to start baseball operations again, he'll get a stint down in the minors there, and eventually he'll be able to rejoin the team there. But so far so good. If you're a Yankee fan, this is a great start for the team there. So even if you have a loss here or there like that, you're not really worried about it. But again, you just want to get Cole back on the mend there, help to join this rotation and keep the Yankee offense rolling as it is. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll catch you next time.